everybody, we are back. Another 20-minute live, not 19, not 21, 20 minutes of just pure value and content. And today I got my friend Courtney Fricke on, and we are going to talk about the top 3 mistakes that you are making with your creative deals. This is pretty exciting stuff. I know that definitely in our business at Easy REI Closings, our clients are moving, past assignments and into novations, and then especially into creative deals. So, Courtney, what is the number 1 mistake people are making?
Yeah, David, for sure. When it comes to creative, one of the most popular mistakes is people are they're overpaying almost for no reason, where they feel like, hey, the old adage, I'll give you your price if you give me my terms, which yes, I agree that it can work, but most people don't know how to properly structure it. And so just overpaying, again, for no reason. And if you're not getting something on the other end of that, whether it's better terms, there's got to be some give and take there. Otherwise, we just see people get into bad deals all the time because someone told them you can justify overpaying with creative financing. You don't want to do that. One of the big parts with that is just knowing that overpaying can have consequences. So, for example, like if you buy it for rentals, overpay, one of the biggest issues is property taxes, right? They're going to reassess the property.
Didn't think of that.
There was a time where I had a seller who would do 0% interest for me on a deal. But it was at a very high price, which great. Sounds like a home, sounds like a deal you can make work. But it was going to almost triple the property taxes. That wasn't going to work for me as a rental.
Yeah.
So ultimately, you want to be very cognizant that whenever these deals are overpaying for no reason, that you still have sound investing principles and that you're able to go ahead and make the deal make sense. But you also know what are the ramifications of overpaying. Places like Florida, there's going to be some dock stamps with that price tag, right?
Sure.
The title insurance cost, the closing cost, things that are tied with it. And so, yes, there are times where you can overpay and it can make sense, but there needs to be a hell of a deal on the back end to that.
Yeah. I think that's an incredible point. One of the things you talked about, a few things in there that sort of were little red flags for me. One, I know my accountants have told me for years the IRS does not like 0% interest loans. They feel like there should be some interest on the loan, or there was a reason why, but it's like an audit flag. I've always thought, if somebody wants that higher price and whatever that payment is, like, okay, great. So you're just telling me you need $1,800 a month, right? Cool. Do you care if I restructure it a little bit and actually pay you, have a lower price and give you more interest? Why would I want to do that? Well, for my reasons, we're always like, because I can deduct the interest. So I'd rather deduct as much as I can. But I love the other thing that you brought up there, and that is that it has those unintended consequences where it affects property tax and your closing costs for dock stamps and everything. So that's actually a really great point that I think people should recognize and kind of pay attention to. And this is a great conversation because it gets people out of that your price, or what is it, your price my terms thing. Because think about that. I think you're right. Like if somebody's like, I want $1 million, and you're like, great, I'll give you $1 a month for 1 million months or whatever, or some ridiculous thing like that, you are paying a high property tax and dock stamps and all the other things that kind of go along with it, right? Plus you can't insure it probably to get that value back.
Well, and you just have to think of it in the sense of as an operator. How will, you can go do it one time, but then you're going to learn really quickly, 6 months into the deal as those ramifications roll out. And so it may sound sexy, but at the end of the day, you want to be mindful. You don't want to, again, just overpay for no reason. It needs to be strategic, and you actually need to pencil it out and make sure it doesn't pitch your back against the wall with the deal.
Yeah, because that can happen. Not that, personally for me, I like on all my creative deals, I like to buy and hold them. I want them for long-term growth. I'm not sure, what your strategy is, but mine, I don't like to assign them or do any of that stuff. That's how we created all of our rental properties. But surely rents are going to go up over time, but over the next 2 or 3 years, you have to at least have some money to operate and do repairs and do those types of things.
Look, absolutely. I do
Yeah,
very similar.
awesome. What is the what's the second thing? This is all really great stuff. What's the second reason that or second thing that you're probably making as a mistake in your creative deals?
Sure. A lot of people with creative financing, look, it's nothing new. It's been around for
Hmm.
decades, right? But obviously, it has a lot of popularity right now with the
Hmm.
market, interest rates, insurance going up, all of that. But don't get focused on just one term
Hmm.
in the deal. So, for example, people are like the interest rate, whether it's 0%, 2, 3, 4%, and you're looking at buying it
Hmm.
subject to, and you're just so excited because this is the lowest
Yeah,
2% loan you've
yeah,
ever seen, right? You've got to look at it as a whole picture because the reality is those other factors can still
sure.
impact you. What is your equity position? Does it cash flow? Really ultimately, people don't also look at is its ability to
Hmm.
perform. It can be, for example, you can look at comps and you can say, I think it's going to rent for this, but if it's going to stay vacant for 6 months because it's just a hard property
Hmm.
to rent, that stuff matters too. So don't be blinded by just one term and let that, lead you into
Hmm.
bad deals. You want to still have, I believe that you can do creative deals and still have sound investing principles that lead you through the entire
Yeah.
transaction. I actually even believe in something that I call wholesale terms, which is the concept of being able to get creative deals at a discount. So not only are
Mm.
you discounting the price, but you're getting
Hmm.
discounted terms, whether that's no money down, whether that's a lower than market interest rate, stuff that you might not be able
Hmm.
to get at
Right,
the bank.
right.
And so, but just one, because people uh, asking them what makes it a good deal, don't tell me just the interest rate.
Hmm.
Like there's more to a deal than just that.
Sure. I've had sub twos that I held for gosh, almost 10 years, and I think it had a 9% interest rate. And honestly, I didn't even I guess I knew it at the time. I bought it in '09, but I bought it based off of the cash flow, even though it had that high interest rate. Like I was cash flowing like absolute crazy, and I probably should have refinanced it at some point, but we ended up selling it almost 10 years later. Made a ton of money on it monthly. Had a bunch of appreciation on it, and we got to deduct all of that interest. So I think yeah, I love all of those things. Um, yeah, cool. I want to go to the third thing because I'm writing down. So I've got a bunch of questions here for you on the backside. What is yeah, what's the third thing? What do you think is the third mistake that people are making on their creative deals?
Yeah. So this is a fun one. I
Mhm.
believe that people underestimate the power of their paperwork in a creative
Mm,
deal.
yeah,
So
we
the
see bad paperwork
terms,
all the time.
look, I think in every real estate deal, but for sure in the creative,
Hmm.
right? Because there's more structuring involved. It's not so cookie cutter as a cash deal and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But truly, your paperwork can make or break your deal. It's what you stand on when things go wrong, right?
Hmm.
And so if it's bad paperwork, you're going to have not a sure place of footing if you've got to stand on it. I even so much so that with my paperwork, there's ways that I can actually make second and third layers to the deal in our
Yeah.
paperwork by being a creative deal maker. And so
Yeah.
there's a level there that don't underestimate it. Don't This is not a place for you to just be like, I want to fill in the blank. I just want to, let this paperwork
Yeah.
be like whatever, and you underscore it. It's a huge part of my deal. And I want to draft by design, not by default. Like just filling
I,
in blanks and stuff like that. I want to
yes.
say, what does this deal need and build it
Mhm.
in.
Right. And my God, because, creative deals over the last couple of years have had such an explosion because people are,
Yep.
online talking about it and building these great big communities. Um, and I think that's great. I think creative deals are fantastic. It's a good way for us as investors to get in on these deals. It's a great way for us to help sellers, who otherwise have no exit strategy,
Yeah.
right? Because whatever it
Right.
is, they owe 95 or 98% of what the property's worth. In fact, my one of the ladies that works for me is getting ready to close on a sub two deal, I think in the next week or so. Um, but yeah, yeah, the paperwork for sure. Um, it's not just a fill in the blank thing, not like throw my name
No.
in here, throw a couple of things in here and just be off to the races. I think you should get some education. Clearly, you have had a ton of it, kind of, probably from a lot of the same people as me. But yeah, you need to really understand the process and what you're doing, so that one, you're protected, and I definitely want to talk about that, but also the seller's protected, because these people, if we're talking about sub two deals, these people are trusting us that we're going to be making that payment every single month.
Yeah. Exactly. And look, I live in
Mhm.
Louisiana. I can tell you right now, if someone doesn't understand their paperwork, if it says county in it, we have
Parishes, right?
parishes instead of
Yeah.
counties. And so that's one of the first signs that I say, hey, where'd you get your paperwork from? Like, let's talk through this. Do you know that it says
Yeah.
county? Like that's usually the first simple
Yeah.
sign. I mean, but as those terms are all so important with what you're putting into the
Mhm.
paperwork, that it's so critical. If I never got to use my paperwork
Mhm.
again, like in exchange for $1 million, I wouldn't
Yeah.
take it, because of all the lessons that my deals have taught
Mhm.
me has really beefed up my
Right.
paperwork. If I couldn't use it
Mhm.
again in exchange for that money's not worth it for how much it's either the paperwork has made
Mhm.
me or it's protected
Right.
me.
Right. So I agree with you. I have some wholesale contracts that I've literally just crafted, like a ball of clay over, last 15 years, and gotten it very
Yeah.
tight, and, while keeping it as short as possible. Um, let's talk. I love that you talked about, the different layers and multiple ways to kind of extract money out of these deals. Kind of give me a little case study of like a deal where maybe you've been able to do that, where it's just more than just equity or just upfront cash flow.
What was that last question again? Do you mind
I'm
repeating
sorry,
that?
I'm putting you on the spot here. Yeah, can you tell me about a deal where you've been able to structure it, where you're able to, find profit centers in that deal in multiple
Yes.
areas?
Yeah, excellent. So one of the ways is, for example, if I do 30-year seller financing with no
Hmm.
balloon, one of the things I'm going to tell that seller is that come to me, like let's stay in touch, because life
Sure.
happens, like life and circumstances
Hmm.
happen. And so, every Christmas I bring them, especially if they're local, I will meet up with that seller and I will bring them just a little happy, like
Yeah.
something to give them. And so this Christmas, I had a seller who I have a 30-year, she's 63 years old. I have a 30-year seller finance
Yeah.
deal with no balloon. And
So
cash flow
so
is
she owned it
great,
free
all of
and
that.
clear.
So one
Just
of the
want to
good
stop you
options,
just for anybody who doesn't understand. So
correct.
that seller owned it free and clear, and you're able to make payments for her over the course of 30 years to pay it off.
She
Okay.
inherited as a from her dad, but she hated being a
Hmm.
landlord. And so
Yeah.
obviously this is a
Yeah.
great
Those are
solution for
great
her
people to
without all
talk
the
to.
headaches.
Hmm. Nice. Cool. Okay. So I didn't mean to interrupt you. So yeah,
So
the multiple profit centers.
one of the ways that I can Yeah, so one of the ways that I can actually profit through a deal is, so she just came back to me and she said, "Hey, Courtney, I told her anytime you ever need some money, come to
Hmm.
me. I might be able to help." And that's kind of one of the things I kind of leave them with. And so right now, what we're looking at is I give her a
Hmm.
year's worth of payments for a 15%
Oh.
discount. So let's just say the payment is
Hmm.
$1,000 a month. If I could give her, so a whole year would be
Hmm.
12,000. But if I said, "Hey, I'll give
1,200.
you, if
That's
I
eight.
can give you 10 months
That's
worth of,
1,800 bucks.
payments, can you give me
Yeah.
12 months of credit?"
Wow.
And so that is that if you actually run the numbers, it's a decent return. It's like a
Mhm.
32% return on my money if
Mhm.
I get that discount. But there's opportunities like that we
Mhm.
can do that in a deal,
Mhm.
and it can make it really powerful. One other thought is we build into our paperwork the first right of refusal if they get a bona fide offer for someone. If someone reaches out to them and says, "Hey, we want to buy your seller finance note," you
Oh,
know,
that's good.
"Hey, you're receiving these payments." Usually, no buyers want to buy them at a discount.
Sure.
We say, "Hey, if you have a bona fide offer, we just want to be able to match that." And then
Mhm.
we, in essence, be able to get it at a further discount at that point.
Nice. Do
And
you put
or we
that
can just
in
choose to
there?
pay that person.
Yeah. Do you put that into your deed of trust? Do you have deeds of trust or mortgages in Louisiana? I don't
We have
remember.
mortgages. We
Okay. Cool.
absolutely put that in there.
Mhm.
And we just explain to them, "Hey, look, you can absolutely still sell it. It's an asset. If you die, your kids will still receiving the payments, right? But if at any point you want to sell that asset, We just want the ability to just decide if we want to match that offer, so buy it at a discount, or we just keep paying, the new person.
Yeah.
And so we keep our same terms, but those are opportunities to get second and third bites out of the apple in a deal. And
Sure.
there's plenty more, but it's all
Mhm.
how it's structured.
Mhm.
And it's thinking long term in a deal, not just today and how can I benefit today.
I love that. I use that term second bite at the apple all the time, especially when talking about owner financing. Um, yeah, I mean, I think that's absolutely amazing. One of the things that I've done a bunch of times is when I've got somebody, I always try to have them on the shortest term possible for me because I want them paid off quick because I'm a lot older than you. So I don't want to be doing this until I'm 70 or 80. But one thing that I will do is, whenever I've been selling a property that I had on owner financing or I've got some extra cash, I might call up, hey, Penelope, hey, I know I owe you $18,000 on this house still. But listen, I came into a little bit of money. If I've got 13,000 cash, I could pay you off right now. If you just want a lump sum of cash, happy to do that for you. If that'll work, great. If it doesn't, it's perfectly okay too. I'm happy to keep making the payments. Mhm.
Yeah, great opportunity. By
Yeah.
staying in touch, though, they'll come to me when they
Mhm.
have,
That's great.
life changes, right? And there can be big
Yeah, I
opportunities
think
there.
that's so important, no matter, what your business is, especially in real estate, right? We're in the trust and the people business, right? It's a trust economy. People, they want to know that you're going to do not only what you say, but that you can solve their problem, right? That they trust that you're going to get their house sold or buy their house or whatever it is, right? If you're an agent, that you're gonna list it and do all of the things that
Yeah.
you promised. So that is so important. And keeping in touch with people throughout the process. And I love this even afterwards, just some kind of little bit of contact, so that if something does happen, the seller does come to you and gives you that opportunity, right? It's where you can perform for that's fantastic.
Well, well, my business is entirely
Mhm.
repeat and referral based. So
That's
how do
it.
I get repeat business?
Yeah.
It's by staying in touch. I mean, it's like the easiest. You've
Mhm.
already won that client over. And I absolutely agree. We're in the house business and the people business, but I also say that we're in the
Right.
promise business. If I'm keeping
Mhm.
my promise and making those payments, that is the best
Mhm.
testimony for example, a referral. I now have the woman I spoke of. She has another rental that she's ready. She wasn't quite ready to
Right.
get rid of all of them, but now
Mhm.
she's opening up to say, "Hey, we can make an
Yeah.
offer on this one
That
as
has
well."
happened to me so many times because, I went and really just did a lot of marketing towards free and clear sellers because I found those were the best people to make owner finance offers
Yeah,
to. But yeah, we started with 5 properties and then we did another package of 6 and then we just bought all 20 or, and then that's happened over time where, even though the
yeah.
original seller, like he passed away, we're still helping his wife and, she'll come to us and be like, "Ah, I just can't deal with these anymore. Can I sell these to you?" So, I think that's just absolutely amazing. Courtney, thank you so much. I love this. The top 3 mistakes that you're making on your creative deals. Where's the best people to find you and follow you and kind of learn more about all this stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you go to
Mhm.
courtneyfricke.com, all my different
Okay.
socials are linked there. I'm most active
Nice.
on and so that's
Nice.
at
Yep.
courtneyfricke.com. You can see other places as well.
Cool. Cool. And I appreciate you coming on and sharing all this. I know you said you don't do a ton of coaching, but you do some workshops a couple of times a year, and all that information will be there. Yeah.
Yeah, all
All
that
good. Just
information is going to be at
okay.
courtneyfricke.com when I do have them.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, guys, definitely go over, make sure that you are following her. This has been some actually amazing stuff and some of the stuff I didn't even think about when talking about pricing and making sure your taxes and doc stamps are done correctly. So, Courtney, thank you so much. I really, really do appreciate this.